My next guest picked up a big win a few weeks ago, getting it done over Mark Madsen. The first loss on Madsen's resume. It is Grant Dawson back here on the program. Grant, how are you, man?
I'm fantastic, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Hey, pleasure is all mine, man, especially after a big win like this. Another third round finish. I think it's your third round finish in the UFC. Do you like giving people their money's worth? What's with that? Have you kind of noticed that pattern?
Hey, man, I don't get paid for overtime, so if I can get a finish and get them out of there, whether there's 1 minute left, that's one extra minute that I don't have to fight. So I'm always trying to get the finish. And man, I hate just the uncertainty of judges nowadays. Like these guys have no, and I'm not dogging on them. I'm just stating facts. Like these guys have no consequences for ruining people's lives. Like if they get a decision wrong, I go home with half a paycheck, a loss on my record that I'll never get back, and they go to the hotel and it doesn't even bug them. So yeah. I try to get them out of there just to make sure there's no question who won the fight.
Wanted to kind of go over some parts of the fight. Obviously, that first round, I know he hit you with a pretty good shot. Was there any danger early on in that when he hit you, or did it kind of wake you up? Like, what? Take me through that first round when he kind of got that shot on you.
Yeah, it wasn't. Walking to the cage, I was not myself that night. I wasn't there mentally. A lot of people don't know this. I had a really rough 2 weeks before the fight. Not making any excuses. I'm just saying, how it is. And I think that punch was a blessing in a way because it woke me up. It got my competitive side going. It got my hey, we're fighting. Like forget everything that happened yesterday. Forget everything that happened last week. Forget what the people online are saying. We got to fight now. So it was kind of a good thing. Woke me up, got me going, and after that, I had one of the best performances I've ever had. So it is what it is, and I'm glad that I now know that I will be able to compete no matter what the circumstances outside the cage is. I am a competitor, and I show up every day to compete.
And the rest of the fight, I mean, you took over. It really was a great game plan. The single legs, the calf kicks. It looked like you followed the game plan to a T. Was that accurate, or did you actually stray away from it a bit?
No, that was 100% the game plan, was to keep my jab in his face. He's really, really heavy on his lead leg, and we wanted to shoot single legs over double legs because, the Greco guys have really, really strong hips, very, very strong upper body. So getting him on one foot was the game plan, tiring him out. He is a little bit older, so I knew that, the longer the fight goes, the more it favors me. But that was the plan, man. Jab, calf kick, single legs. Jab, calf kick, single legs, and then get the finish in the third. So that was nice.
So you get the finish. What's going through your head after everything you mentioned? You had to overcome some adversity and other things, and you get this finish, and you defeated a guy that has never lost. Like, what was that moment like going back to that?
It was big, man. It was big, and it's not just winning. It was winning in that way that was so big for me. I was so happy with the performance. I knew that was going to catapult me, and I finally, after so long, 8 fights in the UFC, I finally broke the top 15. And I was just so happy about that, man, especially at 155. At 155, I think that is impressive. I think that is an accomplishment. It's an accomplishment to get ranked in any weight class. But 155, 170, I think those weight classes are so big with so many good guys. That is a very impressive feat, and I'm very happy with it.
What did you say to him after the fight? I know you guys had a moment. It looked like after things were done. Do you remember what you said to him?
I just told him again how sorry I was about the weight, and that I thought he was a great competitor, and that was about it. He wasn't very happy, and he's kind of talking some trash now after the fight, and he wants an immediate rematch and whatever, man. Like it is what it is. I missed the weight. That was on me, but whatever, man. I don't care.
Is there anything we can listen? We've done these interviews before, and I know this is, you missed weight before, and this was ages ago, obviously. And I remember last time I asked you, you said that won't happen again, and it was as simple as that. Is there any insight you can give under the weight cut miss, or is it just the same answer? I got to ask, anyways, right?
I don't make excuses.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, let me ask you this though: did you work with anyone specifically for this cut, or was it all on your own? Like, how did you go about the weight cut?
I was working with Tyler. I was working with Tyler like I always do, but I don't want to get into it because it's going to sound like I'm making excuses. And I get it. So
yeah,
we'll make it back. Hey, we'll make it next time. It's all good. Hey, stop.
It's all good. Listen, your dog's excited. I understand. It was a big win. And on that note, how did you celebrate? I don't know if people know this. I know you don't drink, so I'm sure maybe a good meal, early bedtime. What did you get up to?
We went out and we got Shake Shack. I've had Shake Shack like 4 or 5 times since. There, my my soon-to-be wife loves Shake Shack. I love Shake Shack, so that's what we've kind of been doing to celebrate. Yeah, I don't drink, I don't party. I was in the gym this morning helping my boy Tiago get ready for his fight. I get married in 6 days, and then after
Is it
that,
really that soon? Oh yeah, that's right. It was this month. I was trying to remember because I was going to ask you about that. So
yep, biggest win of my career, getting ranked in the top 15 and marrying the love of my life all in the same month.
how happy was Elle as well that it didn't look like there's any damage? I mean, I can see you now. There's like barely any damage or anything. So wedding photos are going to be okay. That was something we talked about, right?
Yeah, I liked the matchup too because of that. Like, even if Mark had beaten me, I don't think it would have been like a tore my face up, and it probably would have been like him grinding me out and holding me down was the only way I really saw me losing this fight. So uh, we were really happy with the matchup. You know, somebody like Dan Hooker uh, or Tony Ferguson, I'm going to beat those guys, but I know I'm going to come out of that fight a little cut up from elbows and knees and stuff like that. So we were very happy with the matchup being this close to the wedding.
I wanted to ask you about the wedding. I don't know how big it is or how everything's sort of coming together. Any fighters going to be attending the wedding that we might know? I was just curious about that.
I think George Masvidal is going, and I
Oh,
think
cool.
yeah, I think Johnny Eblen is going, and then a bunch of the fighters from Glory are going. Um, I
Yeah,
think
we'd
that
be here all day if we named them all, I'm sure.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. I think Thiago Moises was gonna go, but he just got this fight signed, so that obviously takes priority. I missed a lot. A lot of people don't know this either. I missed my sister's wedding. She got
Oh,
married
did you?
like a month ago, and I missed it because I was getting ready for a fight, and so I completely understand like that sacrifice of having to miss things for fights. Fights always come first, you know. But yeah, we're excited to get this going. I told my sister, you know, she can miss my wedding if she wants, but she's going, so that's nice.
Just get her a nice wedding gift with the nice winning money you got there. That can kind of make sense there. Yeah. Speaking of Tiago, I know again this is something we talked about in our interviews. I know you and him have developed this great friendship. There's that great shot of you after the win, kind of going up and embracing. What was that conversation like after the fight? Because I'm sure he was thrilled to see you get this big win because you guys were sort of helping each other for this fight.
Yeah, he was one of my main training partners for it. It was good, man. I think the back was even. I'm gonna be honest with you. I cried in the back because it was just like so much had happened in those 2 weeks leading up to the fight. There was so much stress and pressure on me, and then obviously with the weight miss, and then you know everybody. It was just walking to the and walking to the cage. I retired 3 times in my head. I was like, I'm done with this crap. I don't even care about this anymore. Like, I'm done. And then obviously I got in there. My competitive side took over, thankfully. But it was just such a huge weight off. I literally felt lighter after the fight. Like literally as I'm walking back, I was like, man, I feel physically lighter. So it was good. And he was there. He's been there. He saw everything that happened. And so we were just so happy it's over.
Has that happened before going into a fight where you felt like I don't want to do this anymore? Like, you know, you kind of said there, like you're like, you know, I want to retire, like all this stuff.
Right.
Like, has that happened before in a fight?
Yeah, let's see. I've had 21 professional fights, and I think it's happened 21 times.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
interesting.
yeah.
Is that something you've like decided? Like, I don't know if have you ever thought about talking to like a sports psychologist or something
No,
like that? Because no.
no. I look, man. I don't care what anybody says. I do not give a shit what any of these guys. They are all nervous. They're
Mhm.
all scared. Walking to the cage is the most terrifying thing you can do outside of real combat. Like Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier. I don't care what these guys say. They're all nervous. I think
For
there's
sure.
one person that doesn't get nervous when he fights. One, and I think that's Piotr Jan. I think he's the only person that loves to fight. He's not trying to win. He's trying to fight. And all of us get nervous. Mark was nervous. I could see it. Mark was terrified. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And that's not like I'm not dogging on him. I was terrified. Like
Yeah.
I don't care what any of these guys say, man. Like they can act big and tough and macho and oh, I'm gonna go see a sports psychologist. Get the fuck out of here, man. Like
Well, okay. Kind of the reason I brought that up was because, okay, it's one thing to be nervous, but to say that you want to like retire or whatever, like, I don't know if you were viewing a hyperbole there, but let's say you were being serious that, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. That to me would be different than just being nervous. Does that make sense? That's where I'm coming from.
No, yeah, that makes all the sense.
Yeah.
I retire every fight.
Okay.
Every fight, I tell myself, I will not do this next time. I'm going to go out there and fight because I gave my word as a man to go and fight. So I'm going to do this, and then after it, I'm done. And it makes me feel better. And I know that it's not true. And I know that I'm going to win, lose, or draw. I'm going to want to fight again. But it makes me feel better in the moment knowing that, like, that's my last fight and I'm done after this. And then obviously I get in there and everything's fine and I win or I draw and I want to do it again, you know? So it's like I don't care what any of these guys say, man. They're all scared. They're all nervous. Daniel Cormier gets nervous and he's been competing since he was 0. It happens to everybody, man. And just if you guys want to talk about it or if you guys want to act like it doesn't happen, that's fine. I've walked to that cage 21 times. I know what's up, man. It's terrible. It's nerve-wracking. It's the most terrifying thing you can do outside of real combat.
There's a couple more things I wanted to ask you. You mentioned the Tony Ferguson, obviously, or mentioning Tony Ferguson there. I know that was the call out. Has there been any update on that potential fight? Anything in the works, or has it just been the focus on the wedding?
I've had a little conversation with Jason about it. He hasn't been in front of Sean, and Sean's super busy right now. I can't fight until after January because I'm helping Moises get ready for his fight in Brazil.
Right.
So March is the perfect timeline for me, but I will make whatever I need to make work for Tony Ferguson. That is the next matchup.
Would I mean, I guess I don't think the timing would work out, or maybe it would, but because I can't remember the exact date. But Dan Hooker, is that a fight that would interest you? Seeing what he did last weekend at Puelles, he's a big name in that division, and he's ranked kind of near you as well.
Absolutely, that is it. In my mind, 2023 goes Tony Ferguson, Dan Hooker, Diego Ferreira. Those are the 3 guys that I'm going to knock off in 2023. Hooker, I'm sorry, I couldn't think of his name. Hooker wants to fight in February, and I love the fight. Just February does not work.
That's what I was going to ask you. Okay, so it'd have to be March onwards, so whoever's available, which is understandable. Again, you want to help your boy, right? So
he took everything off to help me. I'm going to take and I'm going to go to Brazil with him for an entire week, and so I won't be able to train. So I can't, take a week off in the middle of camp and then, fight. I will never miss weight again, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I have a good camp so that the weight cut. If it was just, hey, if you wanted to fight at 65, I could do that. It's not a training thing; it's a weight cut thing. My weight cut has to be perfect from here on out. So March is going to be the date for me.
Okay. If you were to fight Hooker, stylistically, how do you look at that fight? Because obviously he's got great stand-up. Had a little bit of trouble in the first round with Puelles, obviously going for the knee bar. But how do you look at that fight between the two of you if it was to happen?
I thought he looked really good in his fight with
Hooker.
Yeah. No, I thought Hooker looked really good.
Big time. Yeah.
He looked really, really good. And like people don't understand how sticky you are in the first round. Like right now, like I'm not super sticky. Like I'm not, because you have this, it's like a pre-sweat. It's weird. When you're warming up, you have like a sticky pre-sweat, like it's not the same as just being dry. And so when he got in on that leg, it got really interesting because he was like yanking him in. But I thought Hooker looked really, really good. I thought he looked like old Dan Hooker. And it kind of reminded me that Dan's only lost to the best of the best in these divisions. His last loss was against Arnold Allen. And Arnold Allen is like the #1 contender right now. Like he just came off a great win over Kelvin Cater. Yeah. I know what happened in that fight, but I thought he looked really good in that fight until Cater, hurt his knee. So, I think Dan Hooker is just as dangerous as ever. I think that's a great fight. I think that's a very, very tough fight. My hope is I fight Tony. He fights somebody else and gets another big win. He's on a 2-fight win streak, and then it's me and him.
Okay, you got it all sort of laid out here. I know you're not a big social media guy, but obviously there's a lot out there right now with, James Krause and now Megan Anderson and kind of going back and forth. My question to you is, how difficult is it? Because I know there's times I'm sure you want to say things, but you know how social media is. When you're seeing people say stuff about Krause and about all these other things, like, is that tough for you? I know you're not at Glory anymore. You're at ATT, but is it tough to see people kind of say things on the internet and, that may or may not be true?
I try to stay out of it, man. I'm not. Yeah. Nobody said my name. It's none of my business, man. I don't even really know exactly what she's saying. I'm not even sure. And James hasn't, responded. I I think that's between them, man. I'm ATT now, so
Okay.
I have nothing to do with that. I will say, anytime that I asked James for anything when I was at Glory, he got it done. You know, anytime I needed extra work, a game plan, or anything, he got it done, and that's all I'm gonna say on that. I don't
No,
even really.
appreciate the honesty, and I get it again because you're not at that gym anymore. Just obviously someone who was there and kind of trained with both. It's just yeah, I'm sure it's tough for everyone.
I'm not saying she's. I am just telling you. I mind my own.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah, no. That's why I said both sides, because
Right.
again, the things were said on both ends, so it's just kind of one of those things there that.
Anytime I asked James for an extra session, an extra round, an extra training partner, he got it done. That's all I know from my end.
Okay, yeah. There's more stuff that's been said, but we don't need to get into it. I just wanted to mention that kind of went beyond just the training stuff. UFC 281. Got to quickly mention this before we get out of here. What did you think of Pereira finishing Israel Adesanya on Saturday? That was pretty impressive.
I called it. I said Alex was going to get it done. I thought he was going to get it done rounds 1 or 2, and I thought the longer the fight went on, the better it favored Izzy. But after the second round, I was like, oh man, he can really get this done. And then the third and fourth round happened. I was like, maybe not. And then fifth round, he got it done, man. It's like a movie. It's crazy. And you know what the crazy thing is? If Israel Adesanya and them rematch immediately and Izzy comes back and like wins a split decision, Israel will be known as the better fighter, even though Alex has beaten him 3 times now, which is just crazy. I love this sport. This sport's amazing.
One of your teammates, Dustin Poirier, someone I know you got to work with, also picking up a big win over Michael Chandler. What did you think of his performance?
Oh, he looked great, man. I thought the second round looked a little iffy, but I think he's so used to 5-round fights. He's like, okay, I can just make him work this round. He's probably just trying to stay safe because of how dangerous Chandler was. 1-1 going into the third, and he submitted him. I saw him winning a lot of ways, decision or knockout. I did not see rear naked choke. I could see a guillotine. He's got a great guillotine, great Darce. He subbed me a bunch of times with a guillotine and Darce, but I did not see a rear naked choke coming. So that was super cool. Super happy for Dustin, man. He's a really good guy.
And that wasn't the only ATT guy who got a big win. Renato Moicano, another guy I know that's at your gym, like really good win over Riddell. The striking, the ground game looked awesome. What did you think of that performance?
Dude, he's one of the best in the world, man. And it kind of bums me out because I think I'm going to get kicked out of the rankings and they're going to put him in there. But he deserves it, man. It's all good. I got my 10 seconds of fame. It's all good, man. I'm happy for him. He definitely deserves to be in the top 15. I think they need to kick out Tony, kick out Connor, and kick out Dan Hooker and put me, Moises, and Moicano in there. But that's a perfect world. We'll see how it goes, man. I'm super happy for Moicano. He's a really good guy.
I think if you haven't fought in a year, they should take you out of the rankings just to make room, and then just remember where they had you before, and then when you come back and fight, sort of factor that in things. What do you think of that idea? Because you're like McGregor hasn't fought in a while, and it's kind of holding guys like yourself up.
Yeah, for sure. It's holding us up because he's number 13. I'm 15. 13 versus 15 makes sense, but superstar versus newcomer doesn't make any sense. Yeah. He hasn't fought in forever. He's not even in the USADA testing pool, and he's said many times that his next fight's going to be at 170. So it makes no sense for him to be in there. Yeah. Tony's last fight was at 170. Makes no sense for him to be in there. Dan Hooker, I know he just got a win at 155, but before that, his last fight was at 145. So I feel like these guys, if you fight outside the weight class, unless it's a short notice thing, like just to help somebody else out, like I think you should get booted, but it is what it is, man. I don't care. I know it's political. I'm just going to keep fighting and keep winning, man. That's all I care about.
Grant, thanks for doing this. Hope all goes well with the wedding. I know how it is. I've been there before. Hope all goes according to plan and everyone's happy. In the meantime, if you got anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, or any social media you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
Hey guys, follow me on Instagram. That's all I'm saying. Don't follow me on Twitter. I'm super excited about this wedding, and there's a lot of things that went into this, and I'm definitely going to remember these things for next time I get married.